Drew. Yeah, it is 3:30 a.m. here in Hong Kong. Yeah, but I've had enough espressos to be pumped. Yeah, it is 3:30 a.m. here in Hong Kong. Yeah, but I've had enough espressos. Really super excited to be here and to be actually given an opportunity to speak. You know, it's been a long time here in Hong Kong. I've been here 3 months, and you know, to be honest, it really does get lonely. It's kind of ironic in a city where people are packed so closely together, like just people are just so close together that people would be, you know, lonely. But it's really true. You know, I work all night. You know, so my friends here in Hong Kong are asleep while I'm, you know, up working, and you know, it just feels the point I'm trying to go with it here is it feels good to talk with like-minded friends and just kind of catch up and get thoughts off your mind to other people to get feedback. So I'm just really eternally grateful for this opportunity. So can I invite people to this? I mean, I've already invited people, but is there like a link to invite people? I don't think so. And Ernest, is there a way I'll be able to show my screen? No, right. I don't need it. I don't need it right now. I don't need it right now, but eventually. My website. Yeah. Thanks. Which YouTube video? I guess I can look myself, can't I? Okay. No worries. I'll leave it off. All right. Cool. Maybe just one more minute, and then I'll get started. I got a really good, really profound talk with you guys today. I really think you guys are going to enjoy it, and we're going to touch on a lot of factors. Like when I got this opportunity to speak, and I'm like, what's it called? Because sometimes we call it like a work session or an AMA, but this is called a demo. So I was kind of like, wow, how can I demo this? It's not like I don't have a tool. You know, it's not like a tooling video. How exactly am I going to demo it? So I kind of got a little creative, and I started to write. I love writing. So you guys are in for it. You guys are in for a treat. So all right, guys. I think we'll get started. So first of all, GM, I want to let everyone know that they're in the right place. By the way, is this recording? Can we record? I'm sorry, you said it is being recorded? Oh, got it. Perfect. All right, perfect. Awesome. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to get into it. So, hello, Bankless fam. My name is Craig S. I'm the founder of RemittDAO. If you want to hear my bankless journey, it kind of explains why a project like this is so passionate of mine. It's just a huge passion of mine. It's like an intersection of different passions kind of coming together. I don't think we have time for me to kind of talk about that. So if you guys haven't heard it already, if you guys want to hear my journey to how I got to this destination, please PM me or maybe stick around after the demo. So if you're here, if you're watching this, that means you feel strongly about the mission behind Bankless. I feel like I share that vision. We have this vision to live in a world where anyone, internet connection, has access to the financial tools needed to achieve financial independence, right? Like that's why we're here. I want to talk about people living in developing countries. We used to call these people living in third world countries. That's an old term, but developing countries, that it means countries that are poor. So the vision that I just described earlier from BanklessDAO, where we're living in a world where anyone with an internet connection has access to the financial tools to achieve independence. This vision I described, it's nothing new, and it's just as important for people living in poor countries, in developing countries, than anyone else. And I want to start with a quote from Joe Lubin. He's a co-founder of Ethereum and CEO of my company, the company I work for, Consensys. This is from his keynote speech at the 2017 Ethereal Summit. Remember this. So this quote is from 5 years ago. It's pre-COVID. Here it goes. Quote, an excess of 2 billion people don't have banking relationships, and similar numbers don't have a state-issued ID. So while they may be able to transact in their local context, this renders them non-citizens in the larger regional and global economies. End quote. That number really stuck with me. 2 billion people that don't have banking relationships, or 2 billion that don't have ID. When I heard that, I thought, wow. Okay, at the time, there was only 6 billion people on Earth. So that's a third of all humans. I remember thinking, like, ignorantly, where are all these people? Where are all these people who don't have a bank or don't have an ID? I really didn't conceptualize the highly concentrated populations of people living in destitute in Asia, especially Southeast Asia. It's obscene. Half the people in China are undocumented. Half. And we're going to talk about documentation later, but I want to stay focused here. I want to ask everyone in this voice channel a question, okay? So 5 years ago, there were 2 billion unbanked people. Today, what do you think? Do you think that number has increased, decreased, or stayed about the same? What do you guys think? I'm going to pause here so you guys can say what you think.
Decreased.
Okay, decreased. Okay, why?
Over time, I would think things have improved and people have, people have.
There's more inclusion. Absolutely. Actually, there's a case made for both. This is kind of a trick question. It's kind of a trick question, but there's a case made to be both. I think that's great. It probably has decreased because of there's so much inclusion. Anybody else? I mean, 2 billion people. We're at 7 billion people now. I wonder is that 2.5 billion now? Is it 3? Is it less? So here's my answer to that question. On one hand, the number has the number has risen above 2 billion. Okay, we're over 7 billion people right now, and in developing countries like America and Japan, there aren't enough babies being born to replace the population. Populations are shrinking in these countries. U.S. and Japan, many others, first world countries, the population is declining. So this population explosion is not coming from first world countries. However, in developing countries, there may not be any access to, and then they upgraded to a 2-child policy. Now the country is facing extreme aging population. It's a crisis. It's a real crisis that's slowly taking over. There aren't enough young people to sustain the economy. Everyone there is, old. They're past their retirement age. Now, the reason I bring this up is because China, let's take China for example. Their solution to this population crisis is to import low-skilled overseas labor, bring in migrant workers to do the things that typically their 9 brothers and sisters would have done. Right before, there's big families, 12, 13 kids. Someone would be able to take care of grandma and grandpa and clean the floors. Now that's not possible. There's no one to take care of grandma, teach the kids, cook the food, change the diapers. So the demand for migrant workers globally is always increasing. It's always increasing, more so than we can ever see. This actually, it has an added benefit to China's economy, because now the young Chinese people, they don't have this burden anymore. They have time to work longer hours. They have time to work harder. Now they can leave the small and medium-sized cities and join the workforce in mega cities and work in an office somewhere 12 hours a day. So that's one hand. Okay, on the one hand, okay, it's increasing. But on the other hand, like you mentioned earlier, the 2 billion number may be falling, and this is because of technology. Especially after COVID, it's much easier for people of developing countries to be included in some sort of financial tool or financial app, some sort of financial ability. This I think is much more likely. I mean, they have WeChat Pay, Alipay from Alibaba. These personal finance apps are taking over, and they're really setting the stage for a CBDC. I think we all know that CBDCs are just over the horizon. They're coming, and this is scary. Like, this is scary. This is out of some 1984 novel. I'm not going to talk a lot about CBDCs, but I think we can all agree that they can be used by nation states to suppress, not empower. And that's why I really think the time for RemittDAO's project is now. I don't think there's ever been a better time to do it than now. Okay, so now I've just described how the problem, right? The number of people without a bank and without documentation. Is it growing? Is it shrinking? Either way, we have to do something now. Until now, and this problem has been very well known. I mean, you guys, when crypto first was released, when crypto first came out, there was this use scenario to fulfill this. And so far, for people in crypto, the solution to this problem is just to build, right? We're obsessed with building. We're really, really obsessed with building, and for good reason, right? Building is great. There's nothing wrong with building. I don't want to stop building. No, that's not the problem. It's that's the solution to everything. If we want to make this, we can make apps, we can make tools to facilitate digital currency remittance, right? Sending money overseas, specifically for migrant workers, refugees, displaced persons, people who have no say, they have no voice. We can do this now. We can create the tools needed to do this without a bank. That's the big thing. Without a bank, we don't need a bank to do this. We don't need a bank to send it. We don't need a bank to receive it. And we don't need a bank to spend it anymore. I think we all know we can do this. So actually, RemittDAO's the big idea behind RemittDAO is that the tools are already here. Okay, not only are they here, they've been tested. They're more user centric. They're easier for anyone with a smartphone to get. So I feel like RemittDAO's solution is just a little bit different. Okay, and our solution is not glamorous. It's not flashy. It's not sexy at all. It's okay. Making my own tool. Wow, that's cool. That's glamorous. I think that's sexy. But the idea behind RemittDAO is we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Okay, it's 2023. We can do this. All we need to do is outreach, change will not happen without outreach. Okay, no amount of building that you do will affect the lives of the 170 million migrant workers in Southeast Asia. There's nothing, no marketing campaign. You can pay millions of money on a marketing campaign, but it's not going to have any effect. We're looking for impact here. We're looking for social impact. So change will not happen without outreach. We're talking about adults with low levels of education coming from isolated environments, and we're asking them to step out of their comfort zone, stop using Western Union and these archaic remittance providers that rape you in fees, and try this new technology and trust us. Right? There's a big thing with trust, because it's really their family's lifeline of survival. Their family is living in developing countries. They depend on these remittances. Without the remittances, they would starve. Like the family wouldn't survive. So what I'm doing right now in Hong Kong, I've been here for almost 3 months. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of creating the template. I'm creating a template for other people to follow, because not everyone lives in Hong Kong, right? Not everyone can be here to assist me. People want to help, but everyone is scattered throughout the globe. So I'm creating a template for other people to follow so that we can achieve this. Essentially, it's this. So our solution is to socially organize, field organize in cities with high concentrations of migrants or migrant workers or displaced persons, especially those who have been ignored by banks, especially those who don't have banks or are underbanked and must use Western Union or other MoneyGram, other archaic remittance providers with brick and mortar stores. So then we outreach to them. We look at their needs, right? Everyone is different. Everyone has different needs. Determine the tool that best meets their needs. We don't shill any project. We don't, you notice I'm not talking about one kind of network or one kind of token or one kind of tool. I'm not doing that because I'm a teacher, and this is a teaching, it's kind of an education DAO. If you really want to be a teacher, you have to be 100% unbiased, right? If you're a teacher teaching about cars, you don't teach only about Hondas, you teach about all cars. So we are not partial to any one digital remittance tool. Instead, we look at all of them. We look at the ones that best fits their needs, the ones that for the user, because the end result is getting their money into the. Hold on. Before I get into that. So we determine the best tool that meets their needs. We don't just show them how to use it. It's one thing to show someone how to use it, but we're not going to do that. We're going to host workshops where they can let them practice receiving and sending a crypto remittance risk-free. So we're paying the buck for it, basically, when we get funding. $5, let's say $5 worth of USDC or $5 worth of whatever token it is that we're using on the platform. Send that to the worker right there. And you're meeting face to face, right? This is face to face outreach, not online. Not online. Well, we'll have online resources too, right? We're gonna have an online. It's not just face to face. I'm just putting the emphasis on face to face because that's really the most important. We're gonna have online stuff too offered, but at that moment they've received a remittance. They've received their digital tokens from me, from the person showing them. Wow, they've practiced receiving. They've practiced it. They've experienced it. They've done it. They don't have to learn it. They've gone through with it. And right then and there, they can send that money to their family, also risk-free, because it's our money. Now they've practiced sending the remittance. They've practiced receiving. They've practiced sending. Their family back home has practiced receiving. And now the last thing would be to use that to buy food, fill their bellies, pay peer to peer. We want them to use it to pay their rent. So like I said, I'm creating the template for people to follow in their own cities. where they can kind of recreate what I'm doing right now, what I'm achieving right now in Hong Kong. And it looks like this. Right now I have 5 steps. So this is my 5 steps. Number 1 is network and learn. Network as much as you can and learn as much as you can about the migrant communities, the migrant workers, the people we're trying to help, the unbanked populations, which are typically going to be migrants, migrant workers, refugees, displaced persons. So after you've done that, after you've networked and learned, the step 2 would just to be active. A lot of this maybe would be volunteering. A lot of this would be actually going to meet someone. We're talking about people here, right? We're talking about people, and they should be respected as people. So meet them, and even if you want to do it from home, have a Zoom call with a migrant worker, and don't make it necessarily remittance related. Make it related to their lives. Ask what they want beyond remittance. So that's step 2. Step 1, network and learn. Step 2, be active, volunteer, and create content. We want I've been creating as much content as I can. And this is 2 kinds of content here: social media content, photos, GIFs, memes, right? Videos, viral stuff. And the other kind of content is more personal. I want you to create content for yourself to teach. It means if you know the app or the tool that you're teaching, create content and how best to support those with that. I mean, that means like create a lesson plan. In 1 hour with a migrant worker who I'm trying to help, we're going to do 3 things. And like basically create your own content to use to instruct. So again, step 1, network and learn in your community. Step 2, volunteer, be active, create content. Step 3, this is the one-on-one instruction. This is the point I'm at right now. This is when you've networked, you've learned, and now you're setting up one-on-ones with the folks we're trying to help, who typically have family overseas. Right, we're typically helping people who are either supporting their family overseas or being supported by a family overseas. Set up one-on-one instructions. This is kind of an individual focus. The next step would be to onboard natives into support roles. Now, this is where you need to use your judgment. I want you to use your judgment to consider, from all the people you're meeting, at this point you've met many people, I want you to consider who are the most engaged, who are the most responsive, who are the ones who could actually be onboarded into the DAO, and onboard them into positions in the DAO. Offer them paid positions in the DAO. I don't expect anyone to work for free, so I want everyone in my DAO to be compensated in one way or another. And what's really powerful about this is these people typically come from different cultures. They speak the local language. You probably don't. Like me, I speak some Chinese, but the migrant workers here are Indonesian and Philippine. And I don't speak Tagalog. I don't speak Bahasa Indonesian, but it doesn't really matter because I have enough of a network that I can get things translated if I want. If I need help with a migrant worker who doesn't speak any English, I have someone there typically to be able to translate for me. So, but that's not going to last forever. I mean, I'm going to need people who are in this local language, who can speak the language, who know the customs, who've lived in it, to be the support groups. Because once this starts getting rolling, and suddenly it's catching on, and more people within the community are using the tool that we're talking about, the digital tool, eventually problems are going to happen, and they're going to need support. They're going to need help. Well, they're much more likely to ask someone from their own culture than they are of me. And I've noticed that because if they don't speak very good English, they're not going to ask me questions. And that is because they don't want to look stupid. They don't want people to know how bad their English is. So they're not comfortable asking questions to a non-native language, they're someone from not from outside of their culture, outside of their language. So we need the people in support positions to be part of their culture, to know their native language, to be able to speak to them. That's who they're going to ask questions to. And then after you've onboarded natives, then that's when we can start teaching workshop instructions. This is group focus. Workshops ideally would have maybe half a dozen to a dozen people in it. And this is when we see real impact, because this is when we're able to have an environment where they can really open up, and they can kind of interact with each other. They can ask questions, and it becomes less top-down learning. It's not centralized now; it's decentralized, right? It's not just if you think of a classroom and a teacher talking and all the students just sitting there and listening. That's very centralized. I don't like that. I don't want that, right? We want it to be decentralized. We want these workshops to not be a typical class structure, but instead be a co-op, essentially be a co-op. And so that's when we see a lot of impact. And what I like about this is we're going to see the results will be very measurable. I mean, like if you go to Western Union to see how much money it's going to spend, you're going to get a very a fixed number of how much you're going to pay in fees on that. Now compare that to the crypto remittance tool that you just used. You're also going to be able to see the fees you pay on that. You're going to be able to quantify it, and then put that over a year. Okay, if you're making 3 remittances every month and you're paying $5 in fees on each one of those, over a year, that's X amount of money. Well, now you switch to this, you've onboarded them to this digital remittance tool that we've shown you, and over a year, you're saving X, Y, and Z amount of money. It's going to be the results are very quantifiable, and I like that. So after you've taught a workshop instruction, there's always needs to be time for you to reflect on what worked and what didn't. In RemittDAO, we have in our server, we have a place where we're talking about failures, right? Things we tried and things that failed. We're not afraid of our failures. We're not afraid of saying, well, this didn't work. We need to reflect on what happened and what didn't. Is there any questions? I want to stop right now. Any questions? Oh, I can see it. I can see in the chat. Hold on.
Hey, Craig, I think that's quite wonderful what you're doing.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I was just wondering, like, when you say the classrooms are decentralized, how does that work?
Well, the classrooms, it's not going to look like it's not going to be a typical classroom. We're going to, so, okay, let me tell you, let me describe the vision I see for typical workshop, which I'm at the one-on-one stage right now. I'm teaching, I say teaching, but I'm teaching people, migrant workers, one-on-one here. I haven't got to the workshop part, but this is how it starts. It starts with a story, okay? Storytelling, all the content I make, I try to tell a story. And when I'm sitting in a workshop with people's eyes on me, they're strangers, they don't know me. I want them to know me very, very well. So I start with a personal story, and we all have a story. Okay, I have a very personal story that I'd like to share with them, to let them know why I'm passionate about this, like why I care. I'm not. One thing I stray away from doing is using any kind of branding, because when there's a brand, people think that there's money involved and that I'm some paid person. But I don't like to give that. I don't like to give that vibe off. I like to give the vibe that I'm a human being. I'm an individual. I'm not paid by anybody. There's no brand behind this. There is no sponsorship. Instead, it's me speaking. It's me speaking to you as a person. We're all the instructors in RemittDAO are individuals. They don't respond. They don't anyway, to answer your question, so you start with a story, why you're interested in it. At that point, we're going to start talking to the people in the workshop. Remember, we're talking about a half a dozen people here. We're not talking about a classroom with 30, 40 people. We want to hear personal stories. We want to hear struggles. We want to hear what they want beyond just remittances, what they need and what interests them the most. Like, for example, maybe someone is interested in getting lightning fast remittances. The remittances they send before take 2 or 3 days, and they need it now. Maybe another person lives in an isolated village where there is no off-ramp solution for them with typical finance. Maybe another one's just care about the bottom line. They just want the best fees. They just want the lowest fees. And maybe one person lives in Philippines, one person lives in Bangladesh. In different geographic regions are going to call for different measures. But go ahead.
I agree with that, and I can give you a tough one right now.
Okay.
In Turkey, where the earthquake happened, especially, there was immigrant people, migrant workers, and immigrant, however you decide them. We have all of them, millions of them, and they are hit by this earthquake. They spread around the Turkey, like we don't know who went where right now, and like we have these people now. What would you think, and what would you try to do about it?
Well, I haven't been to Turkey before. Really, the question I would have is, what are they using to among the people there in Turkey, in these ground zero locations? What are they using to interact with? I mean, like, what are they spending money with? Are they spending just cash, or is there some kind of digital equivalent of that they can use to send and receive peer to peer? That's the tool that I'd be looking for.
Right now, they are using, probably, hopefully, I hope so, that they are using money from donations that's coming from government's banks, and hopefully, again, probably most of them don't have, but lucky ones might have a cell phone, a smartphone, and that's it. That's all. Nothing else. And maybe a plastic bag with their shorts and like some clothes that they get from donations again. That's all. Yeah. They don't have a backpack. They have a plastic bag.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a situation that's ripe for a digital wallet, some sort of digital wallet that can be sent peer to peer for people to exchange goods and services. Because
yeah, I agree.
I've just never been to Turkey before, and I mean, I hate to speak on it about something that I don't know a lot about. Right now, RemittDAO, we're trying to open up, but right now we're really focused on Southeast Asia. We're really focused on it. And that's not only because I've lived here for so long, but I just know a lot about this place.
I lived in Cambodia for 3 years.
Cambodia?
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I have not been there yet, but that's very interesting.
Cool place.
So I want to give you guys a real example of what I've been doing. If you guys have seen my RemittDAO's YouTube, you can kind of see some of the viral videos I've been putting up there. A lot of it is just kind of a call to action. A lot of it is kind of there's a big problem here. But what I'm working on right now, I'm really excited about. Just last Sunday, I filmed and shot a video of my one-on-one with a migrant worker. Now, before I show you the work in progress, I want to tell you that in Hong Kong, there's about 400,000 migrant workers who come here to do the cooking and cleaning and child rearing for families. Of those 400,000, about half are Philippine, and the other half are mostly Indonesian. But right now we have a solution. The solution for the Philippine diaspora living here. It's about over 200,000 of them. And the solution, the tool that I'm right now recommending is called Gcash. Gcash is a digital wallet that is native to the Philippines. In fact, you can't even get an account unless you have a Philippine phone number. It's a very, very local app. It can be used to send fiat or crypto. It can be sent peer to peer, and you don't need to use a bank, which is great. All of those things are great. It still requires documentation, so it's not perfect. I'm looking for a better one. Remember, we're not going to be partial to one. As soon as I find a better solution, I'm gonna jump on the better solution. But for right now, Gcash is the best solution that we're working with right now. So let me show you. How do I share my screen here? I'm going to share my screen real quick. Office iMovie. Okay, I think this is going to work. Screen share. The app doesn't have permission to record your screen. Okay. Can you guys see my iMovie?
It's still loading for me. I don't know about the others.
Oh, I see. There's a yellow exclamation point.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Let me try again. I'll try a lower resolution and a lower frame rate. Your stream is still running. We pause this. Stream has been hidden. Well, okay. So it's as we load. I want to talk. It might not load on. But if it, I'm going to tell you exactly what I've done. Like I said, Gcash is the solution only for Philippine. The reason why I like it is you don't need. So here's how great it is. So in this video, I went from start to finished at the very, very, very beginning to the very, very, very end of a remittance. The very beginning is working. So I have a migrant worker. Her name is Amy. Her name has been changed. And yes, she signed a contract, an agreement to let me use her face and name in this video that will be posted. But there's a video of her working, her working her job, earns her money, and she takes $100. So we have $100 bill, 100 Hong Kong dollars, which is about 12 US dollars. And she says, "This is a $100 bill. I'm going to show you how I can send this overseas to my family, so they can buy things without a bank." And then what we do is we literally get video of us walking to a 7-Eleven. Now there's 7-Elevens on every corner in Hong Kong, so this is uber convenient. Walk to a 7-Eleven, handing them the $100 bill, scanning their QR code on their phone, costs nothing. There's no fees. Now the $100 is on her app. We went back to my little flat, and then I got video of her sending it. Basically, you have to look at the exchange rate from Hong Kong dollars to Philippine pesos. And so you exchange it. And of course, exchange rates vary. So the actual rate will vary, obviously. But regardless, that doesn't cost anything besides whatever the exchange rate is, right? At that point, she sends it to her family, her daughter back home. By now it's been about 3 minutes since we got the money. 3 minutes since we got the money, and now the money is back on her daughter's phone in the Philippines, and we have video of them receiving it. So her family back home got their video camera out, recorded her receiving it, showing her reaction. Look at my phone. Look, here's my money. Here's money from my mom. And then they walk outside, walk to a grocery store, pick out some food, fill their basket up with some snacks and food, check out, and while they're checking out, they hold up their phone with this Gcash app on, scan the barcode, and everything is paid for. And then they walk home with the food they just bought with that $100 that we sent them, and they eat it. And there's video of them eating the food. So it's literally gone from working, earning money in Hong Kong, now with cash, sending it to your family, and literally minutes later, they're eating food with it, and there's no bank needed. Nowhere in this transaction is there any bank. And that's why I love Gcash, is because it's accepted, since it's a local Philippine app, it's accepted at retail location at thousands and thousands of retail locations across the Philippine Islands. And it can also be sent peer to peer. So there is no cash needed. Or the only cash is that, their salary. They get paid in cash. That's the only time they see cash here. So that's why I like it so much. We don't need a bank. We don't need to worry about off-ramping. We don't need to worry about finding an ATM, right? We don't need to worry about standing in line and filling out forms at a bank or a Western Union. You don't have to worry about that anymore. And so from start to finish, we've got like 8 minutes, and I think that's absurd, isn't it? Don't you guys think that's crazy?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, that's all. I mean, like, if I wish we could have that solution in more geographic regions. I know it's not possible everywhere, but so that's essentially what I'm showing in this video. Don't worry about seeing it now. I'll finish the video. I got to finish editing it. But honestly, the video of her daughter receiving the money on this app and like seeing her smile and then going to the grocery store and like picking out a bunch of junk food, it's priceless. And it tells a story, right? All about storytelling. All about telling a story. Because if you don't tell a story, you're just telling facts, right? You're just spitting facts and numbers using words. Right? Tell a story. That's what people will resonate with. So, yeah, that's all I got for you guys, though. Any questions? Any comments?
I just want to open up. Anybody wants to join and speak to Craig, ask any question. But I think it's really wonderful what you're doing, Craig, and I totally see the effort that you must be putting in to achieve this. And I can imagine that many would be benefiting from this. And with the DAO, anybody who wants to get involved, if you have any advice for people who want to help with this, with what you're doing.
Yeah, so a lot of people have I just put a link to our YouTube in the chat for the amphitheater. So definitely open up that link and check it out later. There's a lot of videos I've been putting out lately. So anyway, to get back to your question, a lot of people ask me, like, how can I help? How can I help? And at first I was kind of just like, everything. Like, I need help with everything. But that wasn't really effective, because when you say you need help with everything, people just say, oh, okay, well, they don't really know what to do. It's not really directional, right? It's not really what a leader would do. But I got to tell you guys, I still need core members. Right now, my focus is on 3 things. There's only 3 things I can focus on. I can try to focus on more, but I already have a really full plate right now. My focus is on 3 things. One is reigniting the mission behind the DAO every single day. Every single time I have a meeting, every single time, every AMA, every time I talk to anybody about it, I have to stay focused on the mission, on why we're here and helping the people in need, because it's very easy to lose sight of the mission. It's very easy to get caught up in DAO tooling and tokenomics and governance protocols and everything else, and then you lose sight of the mission. And if we lose the mission, we got nothing. If we lose the mission, then we lose our soul. So that's number one. My focus is on staying focused on the mission and reigniting it every day. Number two is building community. Our community is small. Like if you look at our Twitter, we don't have very many followers. Our Discord is I have a really good friend who's in our Discord. He's my one core. I have one core member, right? He's like my right hand man. His name is Young Scrimmage. If you go to our Discord, he's the guy that's doing everything in the Discord. He's the guy who's helping me with everything. He's a tremendous help, but he's all I got. I need designers. I need someone to help with website. I need help writing grants. You know, I've been writing a grant proposal for Bankless. Jenga Jojo has been helping me out with it, but I finally had to tell him, hey, I'm going to pause on this because I got too much work to do, too much stuff to do right now. I'm really inundated with a lot of other responsibilities. I just can't finish writing this grant proposal. So if anyone would like to help editing or just giving feedback in any way about the grant proposal I'm writing, that would be tremendous help. Because the DAO, I should tell you this, guys, the DAO has not been summoned yet. I have not summoned the DAO yet, so we don't have a token yet. We don't have a treasury yet. And the reason why is because our community is just not strong enough. I need core members, guys. And I have a lot of my coworkers at Consensys and a lot of my friends in the Web3 community. They support me. They'll join our Discord, but they won't be active members because they really haven't. I mean, a lot of them are just, you know, typical Americans. I mean, they haven't really traveled much. They don't know many migrant workers. They don't see the same vision I do. And they just don't see the problem. There's no motivation for them to really become active members. And they're busy. People are busy. People don't have time to really help with the DAO that they don't really know. They feel like they're not experts on migration studies or anything like this. So they don't become active members. So that's the second thing I'm working on. So the first is reigniting the mission every day, every time, mission focused. Number two is building a community of people who care, building a community of people who will actually respond, we'll comment on our posts or we'll like our subscriptions. We'll share our tweets, people who will post their own articles, I want people who are like, hey, look, I live in Zimbabwe and look at the remittance news that just came out today. I want people that are adding to the DAO. It can't be a DAO with just a couple people, we need more people. We desperately need it. So that's two, right? And number three, the third thing I'm focusing on is creating content, creating tons and tons and tons of, as much as possible, content. Every day when I'm here, I think of a new idea for a social a video to make, put on our YouTube, photos, videos. I really need a graphic designer who can design some cool. Just cool graphics, cool social media type stuff. I'm good. I like to video edit. I like to edit videos, but I'm not good with design, really. I'm not good with graphics, Adobe Illustrator and stuff like that. If you guys can help with this, contact me. I know I told you earlier that we haven't launched yet, so we don't have a treasury, but I can promise you that if anyone who helps out now, I will repay them tenfold in the future, because I'm really looking for people who care and actually have skills that we can use. Designing stuff, make a meme. Make some cool designs for our website. Help in any way possible. So that's really what I need.
Awesome.
Hello.
Thank you. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, all right. Thanks for the demo. Sorry I came in a little bit late. But yeah, it's great to hear that you're still pushing forward with this, Greg. So that's my microwave going off in the background. So yeah, I mean, I've got some ideas around that. I know everybody in this space is super stretched because there's so many ideas, there's so much to do, there's so much to build, there's so many different ways to get involved. And a lot of it is built on hopium, and like the things that you say matter. People will get paid back tenfold, but it doesn't necessarily pay someone's bills today. So that's one of the things that a lot of people have to take into consideration. But there are some, like if you have some small amounts of bank and can pay out bounties, you can use bounty board to create design bounties and get some people involved in that way, shape, and form. And then if you want to raise awareness, like what we're doing right here is fantastic because we've got people in the audience who are, possibly interested or possibly affected by this or possibly want to share it. But we can continue the dialogue on other places as well. So, we have access to 60,000 followers on Twitter. I know when we host an AMA or a space on there, we may only get 100 people who tune in, but one of those people could be the one who is your core contributor. So, we can do something like that, set up a Twitter space, and make it more of like a round table discussion, like how can we change remittances? And here's one option. You could be a panel host on there. Is that something that you'd be interested in doing?
Absolutely. I would love that.
Nice.
Go
ahead.
I was just going to say, one other thing that is hard for me to find members is the fact that, so I don't come from a computer language background. I'm not a developer. And sometimes people come to me with ideas and they say, oh, I'd like to write some, audit some code for you or do some technical thing and the thing is they send me their work and they're like, but the thing is, I don't know what to look for considering I don't come from there's a lot of people that I feel like come to me and they have some idea or there's something, but I don't have the correct judgment to know if they're not a scammer. I'm always worried about everyone that, as you should be, I guess, in this sphere that I just, it's hard for me to tell what person is being honest. What person could really, really fulfill the things they say they are. But anyway, that's kind of off topic, but sorry. I'd love to host a Twitter space with you guys. I'd love to sit on a panel. I could talk about this stuff literally all day long. So.
Okay, cool. Well, maybe we should come up with some next steps then, which would be maybe if you want to come up with a panel topic, a roundtable topic, make it relatively general, something like how we can change remittances, how we can help developing the changing payments process to, whatever the high level topic is that you think would make the most sense. And then find 2 or 3 other guests who are somewhat experts. I'm sure you've come across a few people in the space who might have a little bit of sway or might have a little bit of knowledge. And then we'll set up a space. That's something that we can offer through the BanklessDAO social media channels, because if it's if it's people who are volunteering their time and there's no effort required from the marketing department and it's a mission aligned topic, then that's certainly something that we can do through BanklessDAO. No problem.
That would be cool. And you know what would be awesome is on the panel, I would, and you know, it's great to have experts, but what would be even better would be to have a migrant worker, to have the people we're talking about, you know, have a person who lived as a refugee, you know, especially because I know here in Hong Kong, I know a lot of migrant workers, and a lot of them speak English well enough to fulfill that. One thing I don't know a lot of here in Hong Kong are people in the Web3 space. Honestly, all my Web3 friends are in America or in other places. Hong Kong doesn't really have. I mean, they are starting to get like a Web3 community here, but anyway, just not a lot of folks that I would know that I would be like, oh, this is an expert here in Hong Kong who could help with that. But what I'd rather hear is straight from the horse's mouth is from the migrant workers. So, you're giving me ideas. So,
yeah, definitely. If you know somebody who can express themselves and they've got a Twitter account, whether or not they're using Web3, maybe their life has been changed by Web3. And then I sent you that DM yesterday about Archway Finance. I don't know if that would be anything. I would be a bit wary of getting somebody like Archway Finance involved in a Twitter space because they're going to view it more as like a marketing opportunity. But maybe look into that. I can put you in contact with the founders, and like it wouldn't be totally out of line getting somebody like that involved. We do get partner projects involved there.
That'd be cool. I glanced at that. I looked at that. It's really kind of a cool project. Very, very. I think it kind of resonates with mine too.
What I thought was super cool with that project when I spoke with them, there were two people in the call. It was the founder and it was their sales lead, and their sales lead is based in South Africa, and he is an independent contractor, and he actually uses Archway Finance to accept his payment because Archway, the company themselves, pay him in crypto, and he receives it as fiat via a bank account, and it's a lot easier. I think that's the way they do it. Anyway, it skips a bunch of steps. So previously he used to do the work through Upwork, and he would have to off ramp his crypto by going through PayPal, and there was like a 20-day waiting period or something. It was a really ridiculous waiting period. And then a huge fee as well. So they went from something like a 5% fee down to a 1% or 2% fee, something like that. Or whatever the numbers were, it was really, really not in his favor. So he's saving an extra $400 a month or something like that by not going through PayPal.
Yeah, nice. That's cool. Yeah, you know, we could talk about that project. I like that we kind of touched on it, but I think the other members of the audience might not know what we're talking about. But about next steps, though, definitely that. I'd love to talk. I love to communicate. I love to interact. I'm just a very, very social person. The one thing, though, I really want done, it's really like the monkey on my back, is I want to finish this grant proposal. I want to get some bank. I want to get a grant, and not just the first one I'm doing is for Bankless, because I don't, you know, what I love about this project is it's not going to be very cash intensive. Like I don't need a lot of money. I don't need a lot of money to do this, but I do need some bank. And right now, every expense that we've done has been paid for by myself. Everything, and it's just not it's not sustainable. You know, I can't just keep feeding a project money that, you know, I gotta sit down and I gotta finish it. You know, sometimes it's hard to focus on something like that. You know, writing a grant proposal is takes a lot of attention to detail, I would say. Attention to detail. And that's really what I really would like help with. So anyone here, if you guys would like to have a one-on-one chat with me, one-on-one conversation, just feel free to PM me. And I think that's the best way to learn, is just from speaking and listening to each other, you know. So
Hey, Greg, may I ask a question?
yeah.
Sorry. First of all, I think your project is very valuable to a lot of population. It's going to be a great project. And then the second is I wonder if there's any cap for the money can be transferred, because since there's no KYC, and also I wonder how you're going to handle in the back end to exchange between different fiat or even with cryptocurrency.
You mean when users use a digital currency remittance app?
Yeah. So if they receive payment from BanklessDAO, right? Receive banks, and then they want to pay, transfer the money to their family member in Southeast Asia, and then using your solution, like how can it work in the back end? You're gonna
It probably wouldn't be. I wouldn't be sending them bank token. No, the bank tokens would just be for me to fund things, like if I needed to pay a photographer to take photos, or to pay an actress to film to demonstrate some kind of tool on camera or something like that.
Sorry, maybe not bank. Maybe another, like a popular cryptocurrency like Ethereum or even USDT. How are you gonna exchange, clearing those different between different currencies?
Sure. Right now, with that Gcash app, it is a custodial solution. So it isn't like a MetaMask. They don't have a secret recovery phrase, and that I think that's actually best for them, because they don't have any privacy at home. When they live with their employer, they don't have a room of their own. They sleep on the couch or on the floor. They have no privacy. So I think a self-custodial would not be the way for them, sadly. So I'm looking for a custodial solution for them. Like with Gcash, it kind of does the work for you. So with Gcash, say if you send, it might be an extra step. Let's say you send Bitcoin or Ethereum. Let's say Bitcoin first, for example. So it would be an extra step. Would be once you've on-ramped your money at the 7-Eleven, then you would exchange it for crypto. You'd be able to send that crypto to your family, and they would it's a custodial solution, so they would kind of do the work for you. And then once they had the crypto, they had the $100 in Bitcoin, you could just go to a supermarket, buy your eggs and milk and fruit, check out at the counter, and it would do the conversion for you.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. This is awesome. So because once you got fiat involved, they're gonna bring regulators, right? There's a KYC requirement sometimes. So I wonder how you're gonna handle that, like, or you just keep it anonymous. There's
Yeah.
like for transition maybe.
Yeah. That's actually that is a big roadblock. I have some friends that work with me at Consensys who live in Hong Kong. They're locals, and they always question. They're like, "How are you gonna, if how are you gonna scale? Basically, how are you gonna scale? Because like right now, if I'm working by myself and I'm like talking to half a dozen migrant workers, like no one's gonna notice. But he's convinced that if you scale it up, and suddenly it becomes this big thing. Well, the government's going to clamp down on me, and they're going to find out where I'm doing it, and they're going to come in and they say, no, you're not doing that, and clamp down on me. And at that point, it would be over. But and I know that, and I'm very, very wary of that happening. So that's why I don't use any branding. I don't have any flyers. I don't have any. I don't brand anything. I don't brand it. As soon as you brand it, put a brand on something, they're gonna say, okay, where's the money coming from? Right now, I am not. I'm an independent contractor. I'm like an independent person who's doing this, and there's a big difference here. There's one thing about performing a remittance for them, which could be dangerous, right? If I'm actually um, making the transaction for them, if I'm actually doing that, then that could be considered money laundering, or there could be some kind of way they could clamp down. But because this is an education DAO, and we're literally hosting education workshops where we can show them the tool that best meets their needs. We're not performing the action for them; they are performing it themselves. So that is how I avoid any kind of legal trouble. But with that, it doesn't mean we're not going to get lawyers. I mean, like I think I don't want to skimp on legal representation in the countries we are. So if I'm operating in Hong Kong, I want to speak with legal advice in Hong Kong so that I can avoid that situation. From what I've been told and what I've learned so far, as long as you're not making the transaction for them, they're doing it on themselves, and you're not being paid, and you're not expecting payment, there's no way they can touch us. There's no way we can be threatened, but I don't think there's anything they can do. And I mean, we got a long ways before we even have to worry about that, because in Hong Kong you can remain relatively anonymous very, very easily. And yeah, it's a financial hub. If they knew about us, they knew about RemittDAO, they wouldn't even care. They really wouldn't care. It's one of the reasons that I love Hong Kong, is that there's very, very, very few laws and very few regulations here. I think it's one of the places on earth that's probably the most capitalist of anywhere in the world, because it's with so few regulations and laws. So, but thank you for bringing that up, because it is something it is on my mind, and it is something I've been paying attention to.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, see, when I first had this idea of RemittDAO, when I first had this idea, I thought we can make the tool. Like, let's do it. Let's create a remittance tool to be able to do this, and then teach it to it, and then do the outreach. But then I'm like, wow, that'd be a really horrible idea, because if it was my app, like this is the RemittDAO app that you can use to send money to your families, that could put us in some hot water legally, right? I mean, think about that. You're creating your own app, and it'd be hard for people to really trust you. I mean, like Like you're asking migrant workers who are sending literally their entire paycheck to their families as a lifeline of survival, and you're showing them, oh, look, this is our app. We just created it. It's 6 months old. Or you can use Western Union, the archaic payment service provider you've been using for generations. It's 170 years old. Which are you going to choose? A new app that's 6 months old, or an institution that's been around for 170 years? they're gonna choose the Western Union every time.
That's definitely a thing. Although once you get a few people on board, I think you'll find that the network effect is going to take hold, and there will be a flood. The minute that people go, yes, I've used it. I use it every single week. The fees are, are way less, and so we're able to send that much more home. It's a lot quicker. Eventually it will work, but you're right. Yeah, it's just getting over that whole fear of the unknown. It's a big deal.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna give you guys a link to Gcash because I keep talking about it. And again, remember, it's not perfect. Okay, there's a lot of things that I don't necessarily like about it, but it's the best app now. And what I love about it though is it already has the clout. Like when you walk up to a migrant worker, and if you start talking about remittance and you mention Gcash, they will at least have heard of it already because they know that it's been developed in the Philippines by Filipinos. It's for Filipinos. That's why it's accepted at so many retail locations. That's why it's sent peer to peer. At Consensys, we have a Philippine team. We have a whole maybe 30 employees in Philippines, and that's kind of where I did my research. I wanted to ask them, which one can be used without a bank, which one's the most user friendly. Went through all this list of which one is the best in this, and every single question I asked them, the answer was the same. It was Gcash. Can be used without a bank. It's the most user friendly. Has cryptocurrency options. There's fiat or crypto, which I like. And the thing is, it already has that clout, and it's very important when you're sending things peer to peer. Because if you can have a great app and it's sent peer to peer, but no one's heard of it, that means who are you going to send it to? When you need to hire the ferry boat man to take you to the next island, because Philippines is an island nation, right? Can you pay them with an app they've never heard of? It's peer to peer, but they don't have it, and they're like, no, it's not going to happen. But from the folks I've talked to from the Philippines, they say that you could go to a ferry boat captain and say, oh, I'll pay you in Gcash. Sure thing. I have that. You have that. Everybody has it. So the problem is that it's really the older populations and the people who really don't trust technology in Hong Kong, at least the Filipinos that don't use it. They don't trust technology. Maybe they think that there's some kind of some strings attached. They just fear it. So those are the people that we are after, that we want to help. So I basically want to put Western Union out of business. I want Western Union to declare bankruptcy. That's my goal.
All right. I think that is a very positive note to end on. Let's put Western Union out of business. I'm kidding. But Craig, thank you so much. Thank you so much for passionately sharing all that you do here, and for everyone. And we are a little beyond time, but we're all very keenly listening because I think everybody is feeling for the mission that you're working on. And anybody who wants to join, who wants to help Craig with what they're doing at RemittDAO, Craig is a member in BanklessDAO, and please do feel free to connect with him. And he has described how he needs all the help in various aspects, including writing a grant This demo also is recorded on Ernest's channel on YouTube. Thank you, Ernest, for that. And I just want to, any closing thoughts you have, please do go ahead and then we'll close, Craig.
Thank you guys. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And if any of you know anyone personally who would be interested in this cause, who would feel passionate about it, send them our way. Let them know. Tell them about it. I think everyone knows at least someone who's like a first generation. Maybe they're not a migrant worker, but maybe they're first generation person from in their country or in their community. Just go up to them and talk to them about how they stay connected with their family. And then anyway, anyone please let them know about the mission that we're leading, and I really appreciate your support, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Craig.
Thanks a lot. I gotta hop now. I'll see you around the DAOs. Bye-bye.
All right, bye guys. Thank you.